Hello, everyone, and welcome to Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Sal.
And I'm Ben.
And today is our Halloween spooktacular. I assume a whole lot of like lightning or something just happened.
You know how much that costs? You're lucky we get bets.
Oh, I can provide the lightning. There we are.
Good.
That was
We
really
only
good.
do it once per episode, though.
Oh, really?
No.
And Ben's a skeleton.
I'm really hungry. Look, I'm all bones. Why won't you feed me?
You're what every Italian mom or grandma sees.
Yep.
When you don't have a third portion.
I mean, you're just wasting away.
Yeah.
That's clearly what's happening. So this year I decided to grab a book that I have almost done.
Did you conjure the darkness?
Always. Oh, you mean because I'm dressed like this?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, that's why. So I decided to do a book that I've almost done several times for Halloween. For Halloween, this book has been on the list, so I'm like, maybe I'm gonna do it this year, and then something else grabs my attention, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that instead. So this year I was like, this is it. It's time to shine. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do a Dan Slott book.
Oh boy.
Because according to, I don't know, I guess our audience, maybe that could be the scariest name I could say on this couch.
Yeah, certainly sends a shiver up my spine.
Dan actually started off writing a lot of like Looney Tunes comics.
What?
Like there are comics for Looney Tunes because they're actually wildly popular not in America, according to him. They're more popular like overseas. And so
Okay.
like he wrote a lot of those, and like he wrote some like Cartoon Network stuff, like some Powerpuff Girls things.
Oh, cool.
He wrote some Superman, the one based on the cartoon. He wrote some Justice League similarly. He would also write Justice League Classified.
Okay.
And then this, which is Arkham Asylum Living Hell. Dan Slott, Ryan Sook, kind of like his ta-da, I'm here.
Right.
And then we'll shortly be like, goodbye. The cover's got a lot going on. I believe this is the deluxe edition, so if you have this version of it, first of all, it's hardcover. Second of all, there's some fun art in the back and a little extra information, including kind of the original breakdown for what the issues were supposed to be. And there's just like subtle, there's differences.
Yeah,
There's
now,
definitely
I never
differences.
read this book for a
obviously.
variety of reasons. The first of which was I didn't know it existed until only a few years ago. It just slipped past me at some point.
Right.
And I'd always heard that Dan Slott had written like a Batman story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for the life of me, I was just like, not interested. I didn't read
Okay.
it. I've heard good things, but was it a mini-series or was it just kind of like, here it is?
It's 6 issues.
Okay.
And like there's 6 issues that have separate covers and all of that. So I know that like if you look at DC's website, like they'll count one of these as a graphic novel and then one of them as not. All right, it's 2003. We're gonna do this thing. You got a writer who's been writing a lot more like not that they weren't like all ages, but like you're thinking like Looney Tunes. You know, he's had some like dabblings with some of the other like DC areas, but like this is not that.
Right.
This is not that at all. This is something else.
Yeah. You can feel like Dan Slott's like, oh no.
Yes.
I'm going to be typecast. Like, I'm going to be pigeonholed. I better
Maybe.
write something that shakes things up and shows them that I can do other things.
Yeah, and I would say that this definitely does that.
Yeah, just too much
I mean,
family-friendly stuff
there
going
is
on.
something about like Dan that makes me think he really likes that like family friendly. He's a cartoon character himself in my head.
Quite a jolly man, yeah.
He's jolly. So this book opens in the past because we're doing a spooky book, so I don't know. Like they just always have something going on in the past, right?
Sure.
And we're in the Gotham House of Madness and Ill Humors.
Which I guess is just Arkham Asylum.
But it's not called
But
that.
it was called something else. This.
Yeah, and so we're down.
This is a straight up castle.
Yeah, no, it is. It is very castle-like. There's very much a dungeon. There's a doctor down there with a patient who's strapped to a table, and they're doing some healing via leeches. You know, you got to heal the blood.
Yeah,
You gotta-
also
yeah,
known
take
as
the bad blood out.
harming, yeah.
and you gotta thin the blood so they can be ready to cure, right? And there's a man there in a hat. He has like an ominous vibe about him. And he's just like, man, it's always about blood with you guys, but like that's not where the problem is. It's in the head. It's like and what is being trapped within their head. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
So that's why I got this drill here.
Yeah, no, we are legit trepanning.
All right.
And the doctor's
Oh.
the doctor's kind of like, well, like what? Like I've never seen this before. What if it goes too far? And he's like, well, the madness will end no matter what. And I'm like, right on. Cool.
So you're not so much a doctor as you are some kind of a mad scientist.
I like the fact that we saw a hammer and I was like, he's gonna open his head like a nutcracker.
Yeah, what, like, No
Well,
drill.
what it
It's
is,
like
it's
the pass. So I guess
no,
it's like a nail.
He's got like a device. It's like a vice that his head is in. He's going to use this like spike-looking thing. He puts it into there, and then he takes the hammer and he hits it with the hammer,
Okay.
thus driving it into his head.
Ooh.
Now let's go to the future. We got to go, or not future, the present.
Okay.
We're in Gotham. We're in court, and there's a man there by the name of Warren White. Warren White is a billionaire, like to rival Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
A billionaire, right? But he's not from Gotham. And Warren's got a problem: stock fraud.
Oh. Ooh, okay.
All right, and so
Like embezzlement kind of thing? Or?
yeah, he ruined a lot of lives.
Oh, all right.
And essentially what Warren did was he used his money and influence and had, I don't know if it's under the advice of his attorneys or on his own thought, he had the trial moved to Gotham because what they decided to do was go for a plea of insanity. And like the only place that you're ever going to get that to work is probably in Gotham.
Right.
And the jury's like, yeah.
But no,
Not-
they've actually seen crazy people.
No, not guilty by reason of insanity.
Right.
Nailed
So this
it.
is like One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of thing, where it's like I'm trying to dodge the. I'll just enjoy this like relaxing kind of like resort prison for a little while, and then I'll leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone had it in for this man, and they're like, "Hey, move the trial to Gotham.
Yeah.
I dare you."
F this guy.
Right.
No, that's a great idea. Gotham is a terrific place for that.
So then the judge is like, you're like, the judge just does
He's not convinced.
He does not like Warren at all. He's just like, I know exactly what you did. And like, you totally skirted the legal system. And so instead of waiting for sentencing so that your lawyers could do whatever they were going to do, we're going to sentence you right now off to Arkham. And his attorney's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oops.
Get him my body back.
So Warren gets on the bus with a sampling of Batman's Rogues Gallery, all headed for Arkham.
And I'm assuming the dog is new.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay. He's the hound dog.
Oh, no.
The pound dog?
Ooh,
Is that worse?
That's much worse.
that's much worse.
Pound puppy?
Better.
Oh, no, that's who he's pounding.
Oh,
Nice.
That's not yours.
took it.
He did. That's okay. Gods take as they please.
That's right. You fool.
I'm gonna tell my dad.
I'll tell my dad.
I'd like to see that.
That's what I.
Warren gets to Arkham and he's going to be placed into his cell, where we run into another character that most people are very familiar with, but are unfamiliar with where he started, where he came from, and where he was invented, and by whom. We run into a specific guard by the name of Aaron Cash,
Hey.
who was invented by Dan Slott in this book.
Really?
This is the first appearance of Aaron Cash.
Cool.
Good on you, Dan.
Yeah.
Aaron's a great character in the video games. It's probably where you know him from. He has been in other books, but that's probably
That's
where
his
you
like
know.
most visible appearance.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people play the game. That makes
Exactly.
sense.
More people than buy comic books.
Yeah. Warren, by the way, is known by other, like in like his sphere of business as the Great White, because he clearly is vicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Good. I was thinking the white whale.
No, like a
But
shark.
you mean the shark.
Yeah.
Like
Like
the
a
shark.
great white
A lot
shark.
more sense.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
what I
like he's
said.
just ruthless.
Yeah.
He also likes to attack seals from underneath and
Right.
hit them in the air.
And he'll
Yeah,
hit him in
it's-
the air, and he'll throw himself in the air really far.
It's so true. So Warren gets put into a cell with Death Rattle.
I'm not familiar with that name.
You wouldn't be. He's created for this book.
I see.
He was a cult leader who says he can talk to ghosts and they tell him to do things.
Oh.
And he killed 56. Death Rattle's on the bottom bunk. Warren will not be allowed to use the top bunk because there's a girl up there
Oh.
that, you know, he smothered like last April. So you can't use that bunk because she's
Oh.
up there.
Oh.
Is she? Is she actually up there?
No one's checking the bunks?
No,
think
there's
so.
no body up there.
Oh.
It's just that Death Rattle's like, there's a ghost up there, and I'm talking to
the
her, so
ghost.
you can't use it.
Right. Thanks.
So he's like,
Cool. I'll sleep on the cold, hard ground.
and that's
then.
what he does basically. But not before Aaron like leaves, and Warren's like, I was the Great White Shark. Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta like, I can help you out. Come on, let me out.
Right.
He's like, no, dude, in here, you're just the new fish. And then all the inmates just start yelling fish.
Oh, jeez.
So we're gonna talk about Warren interchangeably as Warren and Fish because like that is often what he is referred to as.
Right.
We see another day in the life of Warren where he's in the showers, he's all by himself, but another inmate shows up and like Warren just starts like furiously trying to clean himself as fast as possible and he drops the soap.
Oh no, don't do that!
But not to worry, the other inmate picks it up and it's the Joker.
Oh shit.
And the Joker hands it to him and he looks him in the eyes and he like recognizes who he is. He looks him in the eyes and he goes, you know, I think you're the worst person I have ever met.
That's fantastic.
And Warren's like, but you're the Joker. You kill people.
Right.
What the hell? And he's like, yeah, but I didn't take like kids' college funds.
Right.
And like, do a stupid insanity deal to get out of it.
Yeah.
But you have murdered children.
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
But I do like the Joker.
The Joker's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks it's kind of funny.
Exactly. Joker doesn't mind being a hypocrite.
Then we see Dr. Ann Carver, psychologist or psychiatrist for Arkham. She is having a session with Warren, and Warren's like, you know, I need help. Like, I need you to help me. And she's like, no, I'm listening to you. Go on. And she's basically just running the session. Like, she seems pretty checked out, like dead inside at this point.
Sure. Well, I mean, wouldn't you if you
Yeah.
were a psychiatrist at Arkham and being like, this is never going to get better.
It doesn't get better. It's just a revolving door.
They come back here, they escape, they murder people, Batman beats the hell out of them, they come back, repeat cycle.
Well, this person also isn't like chained up in any way, so I wonder if Dr. Carver is either happy that she finally has someone who isn't going to murder her, or if she's very new.
No, she's not new. She's been around, but like he's low security.
Okay.
Right.
So there's just a guard posted outside, basically. She's going to tape the session. He ends up saying that he's like, the only reason I'm here, I'm not crazy. I'm only here because like I ripped off millions of dollars and I got caught.
Right.
That's why I'm here, because I got caught, not because I'm a bad person.
But you arranged it to be here. Like, you should be in prison for doing that.
Yes, he's like, but I shouldn't be here.
No, but
And
you
I don't
want
want
to be here, man.
But he doesn't. He's like, I thought I was going to go to a place like Club Fed or something like that. Like, what the hell? He's like, can I at least stay with you for a little while longer? Because like, you've no idea what it's like to be trapped here. And then we get to see like a little bit of Anne's life where she's like, I know exactly what it's like to be trapped here. She's like, you know, when I go home, I try to forget Arkham, but you can't. And like, I try to have friends and I try to meet that special somebody. And we see her on a date with a guy, right? And it's all going really well until eventually I start talking about that thing we were all laughing about the water cooler today about like Scarecrow and how he took advantage of an inmate's fear of intimacy. And that's about the time the guy goes like, I've got someplace to be.
Right.
And he leaves. This always happens to her, essentially.
Okay, that's sad.
Yeah, maybe don't talk about work.
Yeah.
But that's okay because she gets a message from Arkham being like, hey, one of our guys got like pinched by GCPD. You got to go grab him. So she arrives. Gordon is there for a hot second. He's like, hey. He's like, so Doodlebug, we got him.
I don't know Doodlebug either.
No, of course not.
Because he was invented for this
Because he's
book.
invented for this book.
Classic.
I feel like that's not really a supervillain.
I mean, Con McKing exists.
Con McKing does exist.
That's true. Okay, fair enough.
Checkmate.
Doodlebug.
So Doodlebug's
Doodlebug,
like,
what's his deal?
Doodlebug's deal, as we'll find out later on, but I'll tell you now, it doesn't really matter. Doodlebug's whole deal is the fact that, like, why is he crazy? He's a graffiti artist, right? Like, why does he get sent to Arkham? Because Doodlebug says that there is a muse that drives him on, and Doodlebug would risk his own life and yours to accomplish his, like, artistic mission.
Gotcha.
So,
Has he?
yes. Gordon goes on a little bit of a diatribe about how Arkham's just like a revolving door. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, like, you know, how many madmen are still at large because of your institution.
Yeah.
Oh man, these two should get together if they didn't have diametrically opposing views on how to cure the insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point she's like, I'm out. This is dumb. Anne takes away from that. Like, she's like, I get it, but what's worse is like how little respect she gets for this horrible job that she has to do.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for the people who work at Arkham.
That's about the time that she notices that like she feels that someone's watching. She looks up to the rooftops. There's no one there.
But there was.
For sure.
And his
There's a
name was
big bad, yeah. Inevitably, Warren and Anne have another session, and she dismisses the guard.
Oh.
And this is about the time that she's like, I've been thinking about what you said, and I think I can get you transferred. But there's a price.
Yeah, I want to get transferred too. I want
No.
money.
Yes, that.
Well, money too.
Because
yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
you're a billionaire. I want $20 million. That's nothing for you, and that could change my life.
Completely.
I
yeah.
wouldn't have to work here anymore.
I could leave. I could get out of Arkham, get out of Gotham, and be gone.
Yep.
She's like, it's gonna take about a week for me to pull the right strings and to grease the right palms and to make like my recommendations that you be transferred.
Right.
So all I need you to do is stay alive.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, hey, would you mind staying longer? Because that way I don't have to talk to the crazy people. She says basically the same thing he said to her.
Oh, okay.
Because she's like, okay, I found someone
got a deal.
who's not crazy in Arkham. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So then we see her week and his week juxtaposed, right? Like her sessions, like with Jervis Titch, Warren being licked and like assaulted by Death Rattle. Her meeting with Poison Ivy, where she makes a horrible joke about how he was good in bed, though the flower bed as mulch. And she's just like, just taking notes, whatever.
Just drawing shit.
Yeah, Warren running into Two-Face, him running into Killer Croc. Killer Croc, by the way, finds that it's offensive that his name is Fish, and that he doesn't have gills, so he scratches him across the neck.
Oh,
he's like, now you have gills.
Right.
Now you can be Fish. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Now you got all you need is a costume.
Nigma is there. He's like, I'm the Riddler, my dear girl. Who are you to ask me questions? So we see that, but now we've come to the final bit of the week, and he makes his call from her office to do the transfer.
Yeah.
Gives them the account, gives him his password, which is Hammerhead Tiger Mako. And then now they have to wait because they have to verify the transfer on her end, and then it'll be done. And he'll be out of there and she'll have her money.
Yeah.
And then she starts unbuttoning her blouse, and it's been a long time.
Okay.
So, like, they're gonna bang.
Okay.
Warren's not unattractive, and she hasn't gotten any in a while.
Right.
And he's like, I'm down, I
Right.
guess. And that's when Batman shows up. Because ain't no one getting laid in Gotham when
That's right.
Batman's around.
I mean, as long as it's not illegal, I'll just watch.
So, a fight breaks out, in a sense. Creepy.
Yeah, Batman's a creep.
Now, because he's been watching the whole damn time.
Yeah, he's like, okay,
Yeah.
not today.
No, I had to let them break the law first.
Batman punches her, and then like Warren tries to grab her. Batman
she's the criminal here.
Warren goes for him. He pushes him out of the way. Warren falls into like she's got this wall of like
What, like diplomas?
masks, like from like different areas of the world.
okay.
A bunch of them clatter down.
Oh, I saw those on the wall, yeah.
Yeah, he notices like one of them falls down, and he's like, it smells like overwhelmingly of perfume, like it's trying to cover something up.
Oh no.
So he like pulls it, like there's like a thing like on the back, and he like pulls this covering off, and it reveals a head, like a mummified head.
Oh no.
And that's when like Batman looks over at her and goes, Jane Doe, you almost got away with it. And that's when you see her standing there, and she's got like a wig cap on, and part of her face is ripped off, and there's like another face.
Oh jeez.
Is it like...
So this doctor has been dead.
Yes.
And that's why Batman was even watching Gordon interact with her in the first
Yep,
place.
because he knew it was Jane Doe. Now, Jane Doe is a character that has been used since her creation in this book.
Right. So Dan Slott is basically the early James Tynion IV of Batman writers.
So, yes, and I was waiting for you to get to that because yes and no, because I'm sure part of it was like, hey, I'm going to create these characters, but this is 2003.
Right, yeah.
This isn't really...
It doesn't jive with like the whole, I'm going to get that character to appear on Gotham or get their own movie.
Yeah.
No, I needed these to work for the story.
Exactly.
Well, it's also that he was like, part of his pitch for this was it was like Oz, remember that show? But in Arkham, and that, sorry everybody to tell you this, Batman's not really in this book.
Oh.
And neither are
He's
most...
right there.
Yeah. Say goodbye to Batman. And neither are most of his well-known rogues because they
Right.
were all doing things in other books. And so to make this work, he was like, they're rogues. Some of these rogues only show up as cameos.
Right.
Batman will barely be in it so that he could be doing whatever he needs to be doing at this time.
Yeah.
And I'll just create a bunch of other characters who, in theory, were like pinched early on and are kind of lifers at Arkham.
Gotcha.
So Dan Slott really cares about continuity.
Yeah, clearly, because most people who jump on this sort of thing would be like, I don't care that Riddler's busy in another book. I don't care that Joker's being used in a big event. Like, I'll just use them in this, and no one will complain. And indeed, they wouldn't. But Dan Slott's a smarty pants, and he likes to do that. He does care about continuity, Ben. That's a very good observation.
And so like, and that's literally in the back of the deluxe version. There's like a little thing where he's just like, "Don't worry, we're not going to use these characters. They're only going to show up here, and then like everything else will be handled by these other characters because it's not really about Batman."
Right.
Which makes this cover a total lie.
And this one too.
And that one.
It's an Arkham book.
Yes. No, it is.
What else am I going to do with this
It's
cover?
intrinsically Gotham and Batman, but it's also not. So we get to let's learn a little bit about Jane Doe. What's a Jane Doe? Jane Doe is a character who later.
She's a chameleon.
Yes and no, because later on she would be changed. Like she doesn't look like the way she does later on, because in this it seems like she actually has a face and skin. In other iterations, when you take off the outer visage, it just looks like she's just muscle.
Ooh.
Ew.
That's fun.
So
it's like a Clayface kind of pastiche.
Yeah,
like,
but in this it's like we're not there yet.
it's not clear.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother step.
Yeah, but her thing is she studies you and studies you and studies you and then kills you and then literally becomes you to the point where she doesn't know that she's not you almost.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Like she doesn't even know that she's not Jane Doe. Like she's like, no, I am you.
Yeah.
But like also knows she's fully committed.
Yeah.
It is method.
Yeah.
AF. And in this we'll see two different versions of how she's getting this, because presumably this is just the doctor's skin.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
But there's another way that she also will do it.
Okay.
Is she about a size 14?
She's got her gun trained on Batman, and like essentially, like if she kills him, she'll take his being, right?
She'll become Batman, and Gotham will be fine.
Yeah, and by the way, Anne is still talking like Anne. So like she's like Jane's a cipher and she's incomplete. Her life is empty, so she covets the lives of others. Like she is just still talking.
Yeah, she still thinks that she's
still
playing
the
character.
therapist.
Yeah.
And like Batman like refers to her directly as Jane.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Jane, do you really want to take my life? Like if you're trying to get away from Arkham and having to deal with the people here, because as Anne would want, like you're gonna have to deal with it every day if you become me.
Right.
Do you really want that? She lets the gun go. She collapses to the floor, and they take her away.
So nice. Like, I'll just kill Warren instead.
Yeah. And Warren's like, but like she was gonna get me out
Plus,
of
like
here.
I just gave away $20 million for no reason.
So
no,
to a dead person.
You gave $20 million to her, and she was going to become you.
Yeah, and that's basically what Batman says. He's like, that was the hook, but like she was going to kill you and take your life. So like either way, that would have gotten you out of the madhouse. So I guess she wasn't lying. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I have no sympathy for you.
And now I'll leave this book for now.
Okay, Batman.
I don't think Batman. No, Batman does not return in this book.
Okay.
Ain't about him.
It's not about him. We check in on another day at some point. The rest of this book, a lot of this book is going to be like you'll see like random notes like from like Jeremiah Arkham, because Jeremiah Arkham's in this, not created in this book, but changed in this book because typically he's kind of been like flaky.
Yeah.
In this, he's much more put together and much more like running a tight ship.
Okay.
All right, like Slott's taking him in a different direction.
Yeah.
We see in like the main like day room type thing, a bunch of the inmates are there. They're having quiet time, I suppose. And Two-Face and Mad Hatter are there. Mad Hatter pulls out his looking glass and just decides to screw with him, where he's just like, you know, the left side of your face is like controlled by the right side of your brain, and like so like he's just messing with him to the point where he breaks his looking glass, smashes it on the floor, cutting the hell out of his own hands and starting a whole thing. They have to like grab everybody and like, wah! Cut to Aaron Cash. We see him. He's obviously at a fitting for his prosthetic, because if you know anything about Aaron Cash, is that Aaron Cash is missing a hand. And he's talking about how he still has like essentially like phantom pains, where like it feels like sometimes there's dirt under his fingernails, or like, you know, like he wants to crack his knuckles, that kind of thing. And the doctor's like, you'll get past that. But he's off to the funeral for Ann Carver, where we get a feeling that there may have been something more there.
Between the two of them.
Yeah. We then see some of Dr. Carver's notes, but some of these notes are from not her.
Yeah.
Right.
Her.
Some of them are
like
from Anne.
it starts
But
as
they're-
Anne, and then it turns.
But they're accurate.
Right,
Like
because she's a really good cipher.
that's what she does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, how do you gain that kind of knowledge?
I guess you just do the
I guess
research.
it's a superpower.
Yeah, right.
So we get to see one of her like entries about Warren, which explains kind of how things went down for him, right? Where like he's at like his big plushy like penthouse office, like with two women doting on him, one giving him a massage, the other one like filing his nails. Another, like a man comes in, followed by his assistant. And, this guy's like one of his CPAs, and he's just like, I've found some like irregularities, sir. So he sends everyone away. He takes a look at it. He's like, oh my gosh, look at this. Like, what's going on with this? Like, why is the paper red? And the guy explains like, oh, the paper's red so that it can't be copied. He's like, oh, so this is the only copy of it? Cool. And he shreds it.
Right.
And he's like, and by doing that, like, he asked him like what the chain of command or like the paper trail was, and how it like led to Richard Milton, and then directly to Warren. But now that he destroyed this paper, it stops at Milton.
Yeah.
So shortly, hours after this meeting, Milton knows that his life is over, and so he takes it.
Oh.
But you can't pin that on him.
No.
Right.
That's not his choice. Like, he didn't do that, right?
I just ruined this man's life.
Yep. It's really a cool device, actually, that Sook does, because I really like Sook's art. It's really cool. It really fits for the story. Tonally, it really works. But we see, like, part of the, like, journal entry or, like, the entry that Carver had, and then we see it being shredded because we're in Arkham's office, and he's shredding all these notes because, like, this is garbage. I can't, like, these
Can't
aren't
use
real.
this,
These aren't
yeah.
anything. And, like, Warren's like, I was supposed to be transferred. I'm getting transferred.
Yeah.
Like, that's supposed to be happening.
You ain't getting transferred nowhere.
We're still doing that, right?
No.
Come on. And he's like,
Yeah, and I'm sorry, an inmate cannot authorize a
Right.
transfer.
Sorry.
he's like, no, you're not. You're not getting transferred. And then and then Arkham lays into him about cooking the books and ruining the lives of millions, from like plumbers to drivers to asylum administrators.
Oh.
So like,
Yeah.
you messed with the wrong person and went to the wrong town. I'm sorry. Arkham then calls him, like, says, I swear you're the worst person I've ever met. And then like,
Second person to say that.
yeah, and then it's like, get the hell out of here. My next patient is here. We see Aaron Cash meeting up with Jane Doe. Here's where we get the breakdown of the Ann Carver and Aaron Cash like relation, what was going on there. Aaron Cash liked her.
Okay.
She didn't really reciprocate. He wanted to ask her out. It never really worked out that way.
Maybe it's because like she was trying to get out or away from Arkham, and he was just like, I'm a guard here.
Yeah.
It could have been,
Intrinsically tied.
but Jane Doe tells him it's because Anne found him repulsive.
Oh. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like it's
Not because of the hand, right?
yes
Aww.
or not. I don't know. We don't like. She could be lying. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, who knows, right?
Right.
Aaron instead really wants to know though where the body is because they never found it.
Yeah. No.
I don't want to know that.
We then like Slott does something really clever here. It's like it's silly and like maybe like scene chewy. I don't know. But like, where's the body? We cut to the mess hall and we see like Slott being pushed in, right? And like,
geez.
there's a whole bunch of people talking in the mess hall area, in the cafeteria, I guess, the dining hall. I don't know. We get indications of what might have happened to the body, but like, we never get that answer.
Yeah.
We will never find out what happened to that body.
Oh.
But as Warren is eating, he puts his spoon up to his mouth to put his like horrifying looking gruel in, and he bites down and he pulls out a finger. And he's like, oh my God, he screams, right? And then the ventriloquist comes along and says like, give me that. It's Scarface's finger.
What?
Wait, it's wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scarface has been broken by Lunkhead in prison. So he's
Okay.
just a pile of pieces right now. And the ventriloquist is like trying to collect them all, right?
I see.
I gotta put them back together.
Warren is having lunch next to Dr. Crane. I just feel like that's a mistake.
Not
Yeah, I
Scarecrow?
just would avoid him. Well,
It
Crane
is.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have his mask on.
And he's listening.
Damn it.
And in fact, he is listening because he loved the way he screamed, that scream of fear. He's like, could you do it again?
No, you creep.
So he takes a fork and he stabs it into his hand.
Okay.
In which he screams. But it's a different scream.
It's not as good.
He's not as
that's not
pleased.
fear,
No.
that's
He's like,
anger.
That's just, yeah, that's not anything. That's just hurt.
Yeah. Boo.
Lunkhead's annoyed at Crane for doing that. He's like, he just shut up. Why'd you make him scream again? And then a fight breaks out. Aaron comes running in, starts like beating on prisoners. He notices that Junkyard Dog, who was the dog character we saw,
Okay.
is going through trash. And like they're afraid he'll find something he can use, so they have to stop that. We see the aftermath of the mess hall.
I mean, Junkyard Dog is just gonna bury it someplace and then not be able to find it again.
Right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Aaron's questioning how Scarecrow got a fork, but that's when the other guards are like, oh, hey, we found Humpty Dumpty. Now, Humpty Dumpty.
We've been missing him forever.
Humpty Dumpty is a character I have heard of, and I didn't realize he's invented in this.
Oh.
Dan Slott invented Humpty Dumpty. So
Well, he and the Mad Hatter should get along swimmingly.
Seriously, not to be confused with Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
no, at all.
Yeah.
Very different characters. Dumpty is on the ground, like on his knees, hovering over something. And when he stands, like when they get him up, they find a chicken, like bones, like put back together.
Oh.
This hurts. This hits home.
Well,
all bones.
he's helping out. It's fine. Don't worry. It's cool. Like one of the guards is like, he put it back together.
Ugh.
And Cash is like, that is messed up.
That is friggin' weird.
That is not okay.
Yeah.
We see Dumpty now in like Arkham's office, and like they've got the chicken there, and he has the mirror that was broken, and he goes, hey, like you did a really good job putting the chicken back together. Would you like to try to put this mirror back together? And like they're all
That's not what I do.
they're all kind of like, why would you give him sharp objects? But
Yeah.
they give it to him, and he will put it back together.
Okay.
A lot of the inmates had to end up going to the hospital, including Warren, because he was hurt and he was stabbed in the wrist, and I think he was hurt elsewhere as well.
Well, he hurt his hand with the fork and everything.
So he's getting that bandaged up, and he's like trying to convince the doctor to let him stay there for the night, and he's like, I'm not letting you do that. And like the doctor's like, you got to find
No
someone
one
to.
stays in here.
Yeah.
This is my space.
He's like, I don't need you here. He's like, you need someone to watch your back. And he's like, are you offering? And he's like, no, you don't understand what I'm talking about. He indicates to one of the beds further down, and sitting there is Harvey Dent, who had ruined his hands by smashing the glass.
Yeah.
He can't flip his coin anymore.
And Warren's like, can I trust him?
Yeah. The answer is no. Like, decidedly no.
Yeah. No. I mean,
half the time he can.
I'm not willing to take that bet.
yeah. 50-50.
So Warren grabs the coin and like offers to help him flip it. And so he basically becomes his coin
Hands.
flipper.
Yeah.
Warren is in his room with Death Rattle, and Death Rattle is doing his thing, which is just sitting there creepily. And Warren's like, all right, so I am going to sleep in the top bunk tonight because enough is enough. And if you have a problem with that, you can talk to Two-Face.
Right.
And that's when Death Rattle gets up and is like, I've been in contact with one of your colleagues, Richard Milton.
Oh, no.
And he doesn't like the fact that there's still air in your lungs. So he's thinking I should probably strangle you tomorrow unless you get rid of all your earthly possessions. So I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Unless you do this.
Yeah.
Dumpty is in the next cell and is like, I smell something funny. And also, like, he hears this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He checks in with Arkham to let him know that, hey, I finished doing fixing this
mirror,
mirror,
yeah.
but there was a piece left, and I really hate when there's pieces missing.
Oh, jeez.
But like Arkham's like, that's what I was afraid of. There's a huge shard of glass now somewhere among the inmates.
Yes.
And so like while Dumpty's there, he starts looking around. He sees the shredded papers in the bin from when he like shredded all those documents. He sees a date book. He sees the Scarface puppet. And Arkham's like, hey, as payment for fixing the mirror, he asks for a prisoner transfer. And he's like, oh, where do you want to go? And he's like, no, not for me.
Oh, for Warren.
Yep.
Interesting. Why?
So Warren goes, well, we'll find out. Warren goes to Two-Face and is like, dude, Death Rattle's going to kill me. You got to help me with this. He's like, no.
No, I'm Two-Face.
He's like, wait, no, flip the coin. So he flips the coin and it ends up on good. He's like, no. No, I can't help you with that. I can't do that guy in then.
Oh, that's what that means? I would have interpreted the good side of the head.
It's whatever Harvey
Yes, I'll help
I'm
you.
a huge hypocrite.
So like he's like, that's not fair. Like that was our deal. Okay, I want out. And Two-Face is like, flip the coin.
I fucking dare you.
So he flips it and Humpty grabs it.
Oh.
And he goes, he's with me now.
Oh.
And what is revealed is that Dumpty overheard the conversation with Death Rattle and Warren, and when he was in Arkham's office, he put together that like the garbage bin was filled with all of his papers. The date book showed that Warren had an appointment with Arkham, and then right after that was Junkyard Dog, who had clearly gone through the trash and gotten a bunch of the papers out, and then basically sold or gave those secrets to Death Rattle,
right,
who was going to extort him.
Right. Okay. That's clever.
That is incredibly clever.
Yeah.
Right? So Dumpty was like, I want to help you out. So he gets him to...
That ain't right, man.
That ain't
I got
right.
you.
That's not cool. That's not cool. Aaron's like, why would you help him? And he's like, because ever since he got here, everyone's been trying to take him apart piece by piece, and that's not fair. And I'm like, yeah, he's got this whole thing about pieces, right? Mm-hmm. Death Rattle gives Cash a hard time, like mentions that he saw Anne and that like she did find him repulsive.
Thanks.
And then like Aaron like puts his hand up, like his prosthetic, and Death Rattle's like, "Don't flip me off." And Aaron's like, "How'd you know that? Lights out! Lights out!" They call for lights out, and then we see somewhere in Arkham, someone has that shard of glass and is like carving into their own hand. Now listen, if you were wondering about Humpty Dumpty, prepare for an entire issue that's going to explain who Humpty Dumpty is.
Great.
All right. First of all, we discover that he has been given the box with Scarface parts.
Oh.
So
yeah,
we're
put it together.
We're going to get this story of that through him putting the doll back together.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, Mr. Scarface back together.
Okay. Does he also have a problem with Aaron because he's missing a piece?
Oh.
No, that doesn't come up.
Okay.
Would you think it would?
Seems kind of like an oversight.
It does.
You know what? There's a lot of good stuff going on. I won't begrudge.
You'll let it go.
Yeah.
Aaron and Arkham have a conversation that I think is really important. It's like, why do certain inmates get to have certain items? Like Jervis has his hats, but they're not like
They're not the mind control
No, they're
hats.
just hats. And you let Ventriloquist have Scarface, and Two-Face gets his coin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get this. And he's like, some inmates need a crutch in order to just get through the day.
Right.
And so we give those to them. For Dumpty, this is not a crutch. It's just because he's a model inmate who has literally never tried to escape. Mm-hmm. He has 0 escape attempts. So it's really just a reward for good behavior.
Okay.
I mean, maybe the outside world is scary.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot of broken shit.
So I'm going to tell you that story, and then we're going to go back and talk about a story that's going on simultaneously, because I think it's just easier to tell you Dumpty's story all the way through.
Cool.
Okay.
So let's talk about Dumpty, because Fish asked him, like, what's your story, man? What's up with that?
Yeah.
So Dumpty was born in Gotham. His name is Humphrey Dumpler.
Perfect. No notes.
He was born to a loving mother and father. He had a puppy and everything like that.
Oh, jeez.
Life was not easy for Humphrey. In fact, when he was growing up, the house next to theirs was condemned, and when the wrecking crew came to knock it down, they knocked the wrong house down.
Oh.
When Humphrey went to get ice cream, the ice cream man ran over and killed his dog.
Oh.
One Christmas, Humphrey came to find his parents dead under the Christmas tree that
Oh.
had fallen on them. Humphrey then went to live with an old woman who lived in a shoe because she worked for a company. She cobbled shoes.
Right.
And she beat him.
This is my trade.
So Humphrey had a rough life, but he thought to himself, after all, if life is always getting worse, then right now is never all bad. And I was like, that is so sad.
Yeah, that's super sad.
Every day you see me is the worst day I've had.
What about today? Is today the worst day of your life?
Yes.
But tomorrow will actually be the worst day of your life.
That's messed up.
Yeah, but that's tomorrow.
Every tomorrow is the worst day of my life.
Wow.
So then one fateful day, Humphrey goes to the train station because he needs to buy a spool of bootlace, when the train just flies past him and doesn't stop.
Aw.
And that's the moment. If we're talking about one bad day,
Yeah.
that's Humphrey's one bad day.
Okay.
Where he's like, it wasn't his home being wrecked, or the death of his dog, or the death of his parents, or the old witch who had
Beat on him?
Yeah, beat on him. It was this.
Missing the train.
So what he needed to do was understand what went wrong. And so he went to the library and he took out a whole bunch of books on trains. And then that night he went and found the train, and he took every piece of the brake assembly apart to figure out what was wrong with it, then put it all back together.
Okay.
Because he had to know, if it worked, why was it against him? I don't understand. Something must be wrong, right? And the next day, the train flew past him again and into a horrific accident. Luckily, Batgirl was on the train and was able to get off most of the people.
Oh.
But those who
But not all of them.
not all of them, but those people are fine. They're just going to, they'll pull through.
Okay.
And Dumpty thinks to himself, man, maybe my luck is changing.
Right.
But that wasn't the last of his bad luck. An elevator doesn't come for him. So he misses his elevator, so he learns about elevators.
Yep.
And then the elevator's broken.
Yeah.
And is destroyed. Same thing with a traffic signal. So everything that irks him,
You don't understand. I'm just trying to fix it.
Right.
everything like that, he just takes it apart so he can understand what's wrong with it. So there
Yeah.
must be something
But he has to
bad.
put it back together.
Yes.
So why do they break all the time?
Well, he's not very good at putting it back together.
After all, he missed a piece of the mirror,
Oh yeah. Well, that was missing.
Yeah.
and the
not his
chicken
fault.
was almost all together.
People ate part of that chicken.
So
Head was gone.
additionally, he goes to get money from an ATM. because he needs to buy a needle, and it doesn't work. It eats his card.
Oh.
I have to go to the ATM. You understand? I have to buy a needle.
Yep, I got to do it.
Single needle.
Right. I
So
need money for that.
he learns how to like the ATM works, and instead the next day it like spouts money all over Gotham. Every ATM does it, except he forgot about the fact that they have cameras, so they got a
so that
picture
was
of
what
him.
gets him.
And so they're like, he's a super saboteur. It must be him.
Yeah.
So Batgirl's on the case.
Forget the train or the elevator or anything. This is what brought
No,
Humpty in.
they put it all. They're like, it must be him,
Yeah.
right? So like Batgirl's gonna find him.
I love that they make it Batgirl's villain, where they're like, that way you never heard of him.
Yeah.
That was a Batgirl adventure that took place over there.
Because
Exactly.
we know you didn't read it.
He realizes the only way he can like get away like to fix this is to leave Gotham. So he spends all of his money and he buys a ticket for a boat. And when he goes to the boat, it's gone because the Gotham clock tower was off by an hour, and so he missed his boat.
An hour?
That's a serious oversight.
So he goes to the
Clock
library
tower.
and he gets his clock books and he learns about the clock and he tries to put it together.
Oh my God, this librarian has got a lot on their shoulders.
Seriously.
Right?
You have a lot to answer for.
And that's when, of course, one of the hands from the clock shoots off into Gotham's skyline, hitting all of the most ridiculous items, which happen to be Hey Diddle Diddle, because we have the cat and the fiddle,
Oh my God.
we have the cow, the spoon, and the dish. And they all fall into Gotham, causing a calamity. Batgirl saves this woman. She mentions something about outstanding. Batgirl's like, oh my God, outstanding. And she puts together that maybe she could use the library as a way to figure out what's going on.
Right.
She does in fact do that. She finds Dumpty. He's sitting on a rooftop feeling bad for himself.
Oh, what have I done?
Dumpty is surprised when she arrives. By the way, all the stuff falling off the roof,
Yeah.
Warren's like, wait a minute, you're the reason that they passed the Sprang Act where we can't have things like that anymore? I'm like, funny.
Yeah. That's funny for another reason as well.
What?
Well, Dick Sprang was a prominent old school Batman artist who drew Batman during the time when like Riddler had a giant typewriter.
Oh my
and,
God, that's
Joker made
hilarious.
huge pies and stuff.
That's great.
It's a little like this is how we move from like the
That-
Silver Age Batman to
This
like the more
was
modern.
because of Dumpty,
Because of Dumpty, it's his fault.
who was like a perfect Silver Age villain.
Yeah, no, exactly. And his MO isn't he's a vicious murderer or some kind of serial rapist or something. Like he is just
I'm just trying to
he's
fix
a hapless
things.
goon.
Hold that thought. So
Oh, geez.
Dumpty falls off of the building he's on because he's so startled by Batgirl's arrival. So she leaps off the building after him to catch him. I don't know if you've seen how
Big he is.
So she grabs him, and she grabs on with both arms, and it dislocates both of her shoulders.
Oh my God.
Like just pop, pop.
Yep.
So like he lands safely, and she's just dangling there. So he's like, oh, and she's like, get away from me.
I gotta fix you.
Yep, and he pushes them back in. She's like, okay. So they go back to his.
But she's okay, right?
Yeah,
she
she's
doesn't
fine.
fall
She's
apart
fine.
afterwards.
Yeah. So they go back to his house, for whatever reason.
Yeah, what?
And she's like, she explains it. She's like, I figured it out because of the library. She's like, all the books, they all linked up to the crimes. The only one I can't understand is Grey's Anatomy. Why did you take that out?
Oh.
He's like, well, let me show you. And they go inside, and there's Grandma. He's like, she was such a bad person. There must have been something wrong with her. So I took her apart, and I put her back together
Oh, my
as best as I
God.
could.
Turns out, I couldn't find a place for this heart to go. It was all
horrific.
shriveled and like a stone it was.
Oh,
Yeah. And,
that's awesome.
And Batgirl sees her and is just like,
Heave.
heave.
Oh, here, let me put that back inside. No!
No.
Please don't. So then we see he's completed his work on Scarface, who's not quite right, but
think
it's
ever
good.
is.
It's good enough.
Okay.
And so they're gonna go to bed, and Fish is like, "So wait, why did you want me? Like,
Yeah.
why did you help me out? I don't get it." He's like, "Honestly, he's like, you're the worst person I've ever met, and I figured if I had the chance, I could fix you too."
No, get away.
And that's when Humpty's in the top bunk. Let's just all think about that one for a second. So Humpty gets in the top bunk and it just goes.
Scrambled eggs.
So while that was going on, we find out who had the mirror piece. It's Doodlebug, right?
Gotcha.
So Doodlebug has the mirror piece, and you're like, why does he have the mirror piece? And what was he doing cutting himself, right?
Yeah.
So Doodlebug takes the mirror piece, and this one of the guards come around by the name of Wrigley, and Wrigley shows up and is like, hey, we got like a few minutes, so we gotta go. Doodlebug shares a cell with Junkyard Dog, just so you know.
Okay.
And they go to the women's ward, and Wrigley has looped a 30-minute thing.
Yeah, like for the security
Yeah,
cameras.
for the security cameras. And he's just like, he takes it to the women's ward, he takes it to one of the cells, and it's the cell of Poison Ivy and Magpie.
Magpie, yay.
Okay.
And I'm like, He goes in, and Poison Ivy's like, which bunk, top or bottom? And he's like, as much as I would totally bang this, I know what's gonna happen.
Right.
You're gonna kiss me, I'm gonna die.
Exactly.
So he's like,
Or
no.
my dick's gonna fall off.
Yeah, he's
and
like,
then I'd rather die.
he's like, I'm here for the pretty bird up top, basically.
Oh.
So Magpie's like, listen, I don't give it away for free. And he's like, oh, I know. And he gives her the shard of glass.
Right,
And
it's a
here-
shiny thing.
Yeah.
That she wants,
So then they
yeah.
start making out, and Ivy's like, I have got to get at my own cell.
Yes.
This is not okay.
It's not how Arkham works, I'm sorry.
No.
Like, just because they bang, it doesn't mean you get your own cell, okay?
Right.
I'm just pointing it out there. Elsewhere in Gotham at the morgue, Harvey Bullock
Oh.
is investigating a series of murders that have occurred that, like, they are like, it has to be a serial killer, but there's no connection. There's no connection to these bodies, but it's clearly a serial killer. So there's a severe, looking man who's also there with him. They brought in a specialist. Upon looking at the bodies, Bullock throws up. And
That's got to be serious because Bullock is a hardened cop.
yeah, and our mystery man reveals himself to be Mr. Blood. It's Jason Blood.
You can see from the picture. I was just like, hey, it's Jason Blood.
It's
yay.
Jason Blood. And he's like, no, they do have something in common because, like, this was clearly like a ritualistic killing of the occult variety, and the thing they have in common is sin. They all committed the same sin.
Oh, so it's 7 now.
Well, kind of. We will later see that those bodies are carved up with symbols. Keep that in mind.
Okay, symbol.
So while Doodlebug was getting it on,
Right.
Wrigley was minding Jane Doe's cell because she's in solitary, and she's like taunting him. So he goes in the cell, and I think
So now
I don't
she's
even need to
Wrigley.
tell you what happens there, right? So she's Wrigley. So she takes Doodlebug back to his cell and leaves it partially opened. And so he's like, "Oh, the cell's open." So he and Junkyard pry it open, and now they're free. And then Wrigley,
let the dog out!
Hoo.
No, we're just gonna turn this whole story around. Wrigley now goes up and down the rest of the halls and like just starts like swiping inmates
Out?
Just swiping them out.
Okay.
She's supposed to be a guard.
Right.
Why
would
is she
let
letting
them
them
go?
out? That's not
Because
her MO.
so she didn't really become Wrigley as much as she just put on his clothes and killed him.
Oh, well, that's that's very selective.
No, because she didn't have a chance to study him. She's working at something else.
Oh, okay. So she's just like, this is just, I'm very good at this.
I need this to get to what I need to do.
Okay.
I need
All
my
right.
next. I haven't studied him.
Right.
Oh, so she needs time.
She needs time.
Got it.
So we see in like, if we just check in with the guards like room, and they're just laughing it up, and they see nothing happening,
Yeah.
and it is bedlam, right?
Right.
In Humpty's cell, Humpty is passed out. Warren is woken up by Wrigley, who's like, "Hey, we gotta go, Mr. White. I gotta get you out
Oh
of here."
no, because she's still like, I'm gonna be him.
Bingo!
I still have to be this guy.
Yes.
I've done all my homework.
So she knocks him against the wall, knocks him out, and then just drags him away. Arkham is at home, laying in bed. He's like, "It's quiet. It's never quiet. I have not gotten a good night's sleep since I started working at Arkham. Something is wrong." So he gets his shotgun.
Maybe it burned down. Yes, that would be great.
Wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? He calls into Cash because Cash is in the fray because some of the guards who are on the floor know
Right.
what's going on, right?
Yeah.
He calls into Cash and Cash is like,
It's pandemonium down here.
no, he's like, it's all fine here now, thanks. He's like trying to keep like, no, I got this under control. Everything's
okay.
good. Nothing's happening. Don't come down here.
Don't bring the shotgun again.
Don't come down here. He's like, I'm coming down. He's like,
Or we're gonna lose a couple more unknown Batman rogues.
he's like, damn it.
And I might lose another hand.
I really don't want to do that. She takes down one of the big dudes who were there. We see that Lunkhead is free, and Ventriloquist hears Scarface.
Oh no, dummy, come get me.
Yep, and he gets him. He doesn't talk right though, because he's not
he's broken,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
not put together correctly. Two of our more well-known characters, by the name of Harvey Dent and Joker, are free. I love that Slott's like, I just got to put this in.
Right.
They get out. They
just get out.
They
and
totally get out.
We're in Batman books now.
I freaking love that Harvey Dent is like, what do we do now? And Joker's like, sees the white pages, and he's like, I think I'm going to kill everyone in Gotham who has a palindrome for a name. Goodbye.
Oh no!
I'm like,
Every Bob.
So he just leaves.
That's amazing.
He's just, goodbye. Aaron is chasing after Wrigley. Wrigley, having been in Ann Carver's head, knows what Aaron Cash is afraid of and releases Killer Croc.
Oh.
So we get a
I see.
flashback
Okay.
because
I
Aaron,
know the video game now.
Yes, Aaron Cash tries to date Ann Carver. As he's like trying to ask her out, she's like, "We should talk later," and he's like, "Oh yeah, we should totally do that." And she's like, "No, for your like annual psych evaluation."
Oh,
and
thanks.
that's when Killer Croc, who is being brought in, his trank wears off, and so Cash tries to save her, and in like fighting him, loses his hand.
Right.
And so upon seeing him, he is crippled with fear.
Cool.
That tracks. Yeah.
Right. We also see this other time in which like Cash is like with Nigma in like the bath area. This is in between these times, like the past and the present, where like Killer Croc has been loosed, and they're like, "Cash, we need your help," and he's like, "I'm dealing with Riddler right now. Really
Right.
important. Super important."
Real busy. He's
Yeah.
he's almost got me on the ropes.
Yeah, and they're like, "He's like 110 pounds. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He's wily.
Yeah.
He's asking me questions. I don't know the answers.
But that's fine because Jeremiah Arkham shows up with his shotgun, which is filled with tranquilizers.
Nice.
It's like he
Oh,
just.
that's a much better
It's like he
shotgun.
just wanted a shotgun. He's like, "Ch-ch."
Yeah.
I mean, the noise should
hunting
scare
season.
them, but
He passes on a gas mask to Cash so that they can like put gas into the building so that they can knock out all the male patients, right?
Yeah.
So they do that, right? As they're going through, realizing like, okay, everybody's out, cool. Also, Doodlebug's been having at it, and there's like just graffiti everywhere, including all these crazy symbols cut to the symbols on the bodies.
Symbols.
So that's how we're going to connect all this, because this book's about to go off the rails. Because I'm sure you're like, why the hell are we doing this for Halloween? Well,
Right.
hang on.
wait, what?
Because,
Yeah, I just figured it was
because
it
we're
was just kinda
about
spooky.
halfway through. We're gonna just wrap this up, and it's gonna go. We're going this way right now,
Okay.
right?
We're gonna zag.
We are going to zag. You thought we were gonna zig,
Oh,
kind of.
the title. I
Yeah.
suddenly realized.
I just figured life was living hell in Arkham.
No, it is.
Yeah.
That is actually what it means, and it means something else.
Oh.
So essentially, Bullock's like, so you saying that they all committed the same sin, and that's why they got all these occult things on them. So, you seen this before?
Right.
And he's like, yes.
Here and there.
So we see Etrigan fighting these 7 demons, right, called the Scarva. These 7 who were barred from hell and banned from heaven.
Oh, so there's trapped here.
They're trapped, right, in betwixt. So Bullock's like, well, since they just stopped, like the body stopped coming in, maybe they off themselves. And like, Blood's like, more likely they got arrested. So the question is, are they at Blackgate
where are
or
they?
Arkham?
Yeah.
And like, Blood's like, my money's on Arkham.
Looks like, go ahead. My money's on taking my lunch.
No, Bullock will come along for this trip.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just so you know, in the ladies' ward, Magpie and Poison Ivy decide to Shawshank Redemption the hell out of this, and they have a hole in the wall. But they're going to use the like shiny objects that Magpie has to illuminate the hole.
Okay.
Magpie's like, I really want to take those with them, and Ivy's like, focus.
Yeah.
Why? Why am I with you?
Right.
Focus. So they're gonna dig along because Ivy's just trying to get to a point where she can feel roots.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we see some creepy things that are like, here's some scratching.
Oh.
Oh, you don't want to hear scritching.
Oh, you don't want to hear no scritching, ever. We do a quick flashback to that scene we saw at the beginning. Remember that
yeah, with the
dude
trim
who
pit.
looks really familiar now?
Oh, yeah.
What?
It's Jason Blood. He uses magic to like get the other doctor to like go the hell away because like he's like, this is madness.
Madness!
Thank you. He's like, listen, we got 6 more bodies to do. Go get the rest of them. Poison Ivy and Magpie do not end up outside. They end up in a sealed antechamber
Oh, no, it's this place.
where they find a pile of bodies in a circle of salt, presumably.
Oh.
Ivy goes to investigate them, and she breaks the circle,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
and they wake back up,
That's what the bodies were.
and they attack her.
Nice.
And these are the guys from
The
past.
The demons.
Yeah,
the
long
7
time ago.
The 7 of them that got put into these bodies by Jason Blood.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
That's what he was trepanning.
He wasn't summoning demons. He was
putting them
trapping
back in.
He was putting them into people. All the guards,
Killable selves. Yeah.
all the guards are putting bodies back into their cells before they wake back up.
Right.
They're also doing like a head count for that reason. Humpty is out and about looking for Mr. Fish or Dr. Arkham or anybody at this point. Over in the ladies' ward, the shit be hitting the fan because there are magic zombies.
All I know is that the men's ward is like, hey, how come they get fun?
Well, they don't even know. Cash calls into like security. They're like, hey, is everything cool in the women's area? And they look and they're like, it's fine.
Because they got the loop going.
Bingo.
Oops. This all took place within less than 30 minutes.
Yep.
I mean, I hear an alarm in the background, but everything looks good.
The zombies discover that Wrigley's dead for us.
Oh,
For our benefit,
the original Wrigley.
They find the original Wrigley. And we find that Warren has been dragged into Mr. Freeze's cell. Mr. Freeze is not here, but he has a cell.
Yeah.
And
He'll
it's always
eventually be
cold
back.
and it's always ready. And like, she's like, why is it so cold in here? She's like, well,
We keep it on ice.
no, she's like, well, it's a good little place to hide things and to keep things fresh. And she pulls down a duffel bag and starts going through other baggies that are in that duffel
I get a
bag.
look at my faces here.
Yeah, a foot falls out at one point. And that's when she pulls out the fish skin she was working on. So I'm like,
Where'd you get that?
Okay, so it's
I have
not
my skin.
his skin.
it's not his skin this time.
Like, she's just a good seamstress.
Let's not, we're not going to talk about that because I don't have an answer for where that skin came from.
It's just a whole lot of scabs.
But the fact is that, like, unfortunately, it's not accurate anymore because from the time that she was going to do her plan to now, he's gotten injured again. So she needs to reopen those wounds to find out what's going on with them so she can better inflict those and make that work that it's real, right? Mm-hmm. So she's going to be doing that. Doodlebug is unconscious and he's having a flashback where we're like, hey, let's get some more information about what the hell Doodlebug's all about. So
Right.
Doodlebug was like a pretty big artist when he did in fact have a muse. And that muse would like arrive in like him seeing like glowing people. So there's this chick who shows up to his like art gallery opening and she's like way into him. She's like, I am a huge fan and I want to bang you and maybe be in some of your art. I don't know. I don't care. So they go back and
he's like, cool, I can see in you, so
yeah.
Yes.
So he's like, so I know what that means. That means I have to kill you and take your blood and mix it into my paint and then use that elsewhere.
Right.
Oh, now I get why he's a creep. And
why he's in Arkham.
Yep. So that's what he does. Anytime he sees his muse in someone, he kills that person and then incorporates their blood into his paint.
Okay.
But he also like sees something in them.
Yeah. Now what is he seeing? Well,
Insanity.
I bet you anything that that's tied into the supernatural elements of this book.
Oh yeah, fair. There's like a demon or.
Oh, there's a demon. All right.
Every Batman book you do is about a demon.
I listen. That's why you don't read these. That's why these are the books I can do.
Oh, that's fair.
If there's ghosts or demons,
Ooh, Tiffany's on the case.
that's right. I'm here.
Yeah, otherwise Sal's like, this isn't Batman. Batman doesn't fight
I don't want to
demons.
do
What the hell's
this.
a demon doing in here? Get me out of here.
So, before Bullock and Blood can go to, by the way, I like that
New
title.
book, Bullock and Blood.
Before they can
Tom
go
King.
to Arkham, they have to stop at Blood's place to get a couple of things. Bullock starts putting some stuff together. He's like, hey, look at this old-timey photo.
Right.
That looks a lot like you. Is that like your grandpa?
Sure.
And he's like, no, I just age really well. And then he sees a sign, like this sign over here that's like these demons fighting other things. And then he opens up a cabinet and Blood has all these tongues in jars. He's like, oh, we need these. And Bullock's like, okay, so you're a murderer
Right.
and I'm going to take you down. And then Blood uses magic to like be like, no. Because they drop one of the jars and the tongue starts flopping around.
Nah.
And Bullock's like,
No.
but that's okay.
What? It's just like nerves, right? It electrify him. It flaps.
So like Blood puts him into a thrall essentially where he's just like, okay, you drive me places. So he grabs all the tongues. And
Also, pick that up.
yeah, put that back in a jar for me. I don't
Grab
wanna touch
those.
that.
They're really slippery.
That's gross.
Why are there so many things in jars? Tongues in jars. We saw a foot before. There's a hand.
Yeah, that hand's really important. So, okay, so Blood and Bullock are going to go to Arkham, and that's really important because Blood will need Bullock to get in,
Yes.
but it doesn't really matter because there's no one.
There's no one checking people in.
Yeah.
Except for the women's ward. That's all calm and fine.
So Death Rattle's like having a moment. He's like, it's time, they're here. He's freaking out, right? Meanwhile, Junkyard Dog hears that and he's like, we should go.
Right.
So he tries to wake Doodlebug up and he's like, hey, come on. We gotta go. And he starts like digging through all the trash he has. And he's like, I told you there could be a key. And he has a hand. And it's the hand of Aaron Cash.
I thought
Wait,
Croc ate
didn't
it.
eat it?
No, he bit it off.
Oh no.
He's like, look, much like a shark, I think people taste disgusting.
Yeah, so he's able to use the hand to get them out, right? And that's when Doodlebug looks at him and sees his muse. He's like, sure, I'll go with you, man. I'm totally down, right? So all of the guards and Arkham are in the security room, and they're like, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. And then Arkham does like 3 things, and he's like, you guys are literally the worst. You're just the worst. They look, and they're like, holy crap, because they see what's going on in the women's ward, right?
Yeah.
Which is just pandemonium.
Absolutely.
And like zombie demon things.
Jane Doe has put on her fish skin and is like, well,
She hasn't killed Fish yet.
no. She's gonna leave him to die in the cold chamber. She's like, you're gonna die here anyway.
Right, fine.
So she
Plus,
also
maybe I want to come back later for a resizing.
right. She also has a hand. It's the hand of Ann Carver.
Oh,
So she's gonna use that to get a lot of hands happening here.
Yeah.
Very important.
My goodness.
So Fish is left to die, and as she leaves, she turns it up even more.
Oh, jeez.
So it's like going to be fatal.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and that's when Fish runs into Dumpty, who's like, hooray, I found you. That's great. Come on, let's go. I know where we can be safe. Doodlebug is compelled to continue drawing. He runs out of paint, and he's like, oh, that's cool. Don't worry. I got this. So he kills Junkyard Dog, takes his heart out, and just starts painting with his heart. Right? He's painting all these crazy symbols. His eyes have gone totally red.
Yeah.
The symbols are now on fire for him as well. Jason Blood is like at the gates. He's like, Bullock,
You're good.
stay here. He turns into Etrigan, and he
Yay.
leaps into action with his doctor's bag. This is where the book goes off the rails for me as well.
I mean, the Demon Etrigan is fighting Arkham inmates. So, I mean, it's already pretty...
Oh yeah, no, but chapter 6 is where I think the book comes, or the name of the book comes from, because we see Fish, we see Warren, actual Warren, in the cell as he is freezing to death, essentially. And he was tied up, but by sacrificing 3 of his fingers and his thumb, by cracking them off because they've gotten so cold, he's able to free himself. And inevitably his hair starts to fall out. He like hits his face forward, and when he pulls his head back up, his ear has fallen off and his nose is gone.
Oh, my God.
Etrigan is besieged.
He's a billionaire. He can get plastic surgery. I don't feel bad for him.
Etrigan is besieged by demons, right? And they're all fighting.
Oh, he found them right away.
Well, you know, he is a demon himself.
Yeah, he just goes right there. He says that it was tasked to him to trap them each in a mortal shell. He took their tongues out to prevent them conjuring any spells or to ask for help or to repent.
Okay.
But that's not the only problem he has, because something's up with Doodlebug, right? Doodlebug's got all this crazy like power, and so like he opens this he uses like a symbol that he draws, and like this green stuff shoots out, and it's not just energy, it's like goo, and it gets Etrigan,
Oh, no.
and it
Not
like
goo.
and it traps him.
Here's goo.
And the demons open the bags up. They're like, oh, our tongues,
Bleh.
and they all put them back in.
Right,
Oh,
now
no.
they can conjure spells and...
Yeah, now they can talk, and they're like, okay, cool.
Oh man, why'd I bring their
Why'd I
tongues?
bring the tongues?
That's why we covered you in demon mucus.
Doodlebug has to finish his masterpiece, but he needs more paint. So he's like, go get anyone you can find. Guards,
Right.
inmates, it doesn't matter. Bring them to me, and we're going to get this going on here. Fish is attempting to leave Dumpty,
Okay.
but Fish is trying to do that. And upon
Yeah.
doing that, like Dumpty won't let him go. And like she pulls and rips the skin. And like, I love this image of Dumpty so freaking much. Look at his little face. Ooh, no.
My friend Fish knew.
Fish runs away, calling him a fat freak.
Uh-huh.
And like Dumpty's like, no, you're falling apart. I can put you back together. I'll help you.
No, Humpty, don't. I mean, in this case, I guess that's fine because it's Jane, but
Yeah.
like still.
Yeah. So the demons are at work grabbing guys. Meanwhile, ghosts are real.
Oh, good. Ghosts.
And in Mr. Freeze's cell, which is busted open by the ghost, Richard Milton shows up.
Oh, cool. He was there.
Yep. And now he's there.
Yeah.
I think he's there because of what Doodlebug was doing.
Right.
Oh.
So basically, like, Milton's there is like, I'm here for vengeance, and like, you're going to hell. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done that. And like this, and he grabs the ghost by the neck, and he like ends up decapitating him.
Oh.
And then he leaves.
Wait, he decapitated a ghost?
Yep.
Oh, it was that easy.
Yep.
Apparently they're super fragile.
The guards are like trying to keep the door shut because the zombies are coming for them.
Right.
And Cash is like, I am going to go up into the ceiling and attempt to get to the roof and see if we can't get the signal working.
Right. Because we need Batman.
Because we need freaking Batman at
Yeah.
this point. Batman's gonna be like,
I don't know.
No, I don't. Is this magic? I'm out.
Yeah.
I am so out. So Cash leaves. They're like, Godspeed, because we don't know what's up in those roof tiles.
Right.
This was the part of the book where I was like, yes. I don't know why. I loved this part. Arkham is like, does anyone have a cell phone? Because you're not supposed to have one, I guess. But like, he's like, does anyone have one? And someone does. And he's like, give me that. And so he calls a general he knows so that he can get the Gotham National Guard to come in because this is a disaster,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Because everything's down. Arkham calls a colonel by the name of Alan Evanella, who he's like, all right, I'll mobilize the guard, whatever. He gets interrupted by another soldier in like a poncho. He's like, are you Alan Evanella? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, perfect. He's like, you're on my list. And he shoots him. It's the Joker.
Oh, no.
Because he had a palindrome.
Yay. Bring that back.
Damn
around.
it.
That's okay, because Batman hits Joker with his car.
What?
He's okay, though. But not before
Avanella
was exposed to Joker toxin.
Oh no! So Batman doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, he has no idea that anything's happening.
He's like, I gotta
in
deal
Arkham.
with the Joker. It's bigger fish.
Yeah.
I don't know about the.
He also ran the Joker over.
Yeah, but he's all right. He didn't hit him that hard.
with a car.
But yeah, essentially, it's like your call went out.
And it didn't.
It will
make
not be answered. The demons are doing quite a good job of collecting specimens. So like most of the inmates are up on the walls. The security guards will also be brought there. Poison Ivy and Magpie are there as well.
Oh, they're being
Alright,
put
things
on the
are
walls like it's
converging.
aliens.
Oh yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
Nice.
Meanwhile, the ghosts for Death Rattle are there. Like a bunch of the people he killed are there as like a Greek chorus for him.
Okay.
And Doodlebug asks if anyone would like to like come be an offering to be part of it. And Death Rattle's like, I'm in. Let's do this. I'm so down.
Huh.
Like, yes, this is what I knew was coming. This is it.
Right.
I'm in. He just jumps into the fire. And the ghosts are like,
Whoa.
good riddance.
Yeah.
Screw you, asshole. And then he's like, any more volunteers? And then we hear Lunkhead go like, over here, Doodlebug, pick me. And he's like, what? Because don't forget, he broke Scarface, so Ventriloquist is there too, and he throws his voice
Yeah.
to get Lunkhead to be selected.
Guys, over here, you guys.
And so Lunkhead is thrown into the fire as well.
Oh
Oh, that's funny.
Fake Fish is wandering around, and so now so is Real Fish. So they run into one another. And Fake Fish sees him, he's like, dah! Tries to run away. There's a whole pile of ghosts chasing after Fake Fish.
Because they think it's real fish, yeah.
No, they think it's Fake Fish, but they also think it's Jane Doe because Ann Carver is there, and
Oh,
they're there for
no.
vengeance. Like, hey, you killed me, I'm coming for you.
Right, okay.
Dumpty is being tormented by Grandma. But that's okay because eventually a Real Fish shows up and just pulls at her thread, and she falls apart.
Because she was assembled by...
Yeah, and like Dumpty's like, oh no,
Oh.
oh she fell apart. And Dumpty's like, oh, you fell to pieces too, Mr. Fish. He's like, I can put you back together. He's like, nah, it's cool. He's like, you can't make an omelet. He's like, without breaking some eggs.
Yeah, man, that's...
No, you literally just can't make an omelet.
Yeah.
Aaron attempts to get to the signal, but his course is altered because he hears a voice. It's Anne who's like, you have to go help the guards
Right.
because they're in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. So Doodlebug finishes his whole thing. He is basically lit on fire himself,
Oh, wow.
Cool.
which was part of the deal. Sorry, you're gonna die. And so Cthugga is called forth.
I
It is
assume
a Lovecraftian creation from like the early 1900s.
No, that's the submarine sound.
Cthugga.
Cthugga.
You tell him that next time we see him.
Oh, come on. My name.
So Cthugga sees the seven there, and he's like, I should have recognized your smell. And they're like, no, you got to take us back. Come on. And he's like, I don't understand what you're saying. What do you say? I don't understand you. And they're like, shit. We have not spoken in so long. We forgot how to talk in rhyme.
Oh, like Etrigan. Oh, that's fun.
Oh.
So Etrigan offers. He's like, I'll help you out. They're like, no.
Why?
I don't know if we can trust you. But then they also know that like Cthugga's only here for a limited amount of time.
Right.
For a limited time only.
Oh.
Cthugga at Arkham.
Like a sandwich.
Yeah. So you better get it while it lasts.
That's right.
So
Like rib.
Fish and Dumpty wander down there as well, and Fish was like, I'll do it. That's cool. I'll get my friend Dumpty here. He's a good rhymer. Mm-hmm. So he now. Like,
Wait, is he?
Yeah, Dumpty rhymes through a lot of this.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it for you because I wasn't going to do that.
Appreciate it.
Dumpty, and he will now negotiate for the 7.
Okay.
To get them the hell out of here and to close this whole thing off. They make a
Right.
deal. And the deal is like, Fish is like, what I want is like, I'm going to hell. But when I get there, I want you to not make it so bad for me. They're like, okay.
It's hell, though.
It's the worst place ever.
Well, it depends. If we're talking about the hell from Sandman, that presumably is your own guilt keeping you there.
Right, and since he doesn't have any, it'd be fine.
Possibly. Cash finds a way into this scenario as well. Anne is there and is like, you have to help them. And he's like, this is very much over my head.
Yeah.
We need like Superman or a priest.
Uh-huh.
I have neither.
I would take a magician at this point. She's like, no, you'll be fine. You always have done really well. And like, he is bolstered by her being there. And so, like, as she is fading away because her time is over, because
Right. He's like, did you find my proposal?
and like she's like, you were there for me, Aaron. Now you need to be there for these people as well. So Aaron goes for it, and his plan is, I'm gonna run into them and I'm gonna fight them using the grate that I just crawled out of. Like he crawled out of a vent. He's got the grate from the front of it. I'm just gonna hit them with that.
Okay.
That's a great plan.
The zombies end up going like, oh shit, it's a champion.
Ah.
They see a champion in Aaron. They're like, we have to stop him. And so they use some of their magic and they turn the inmates of Gotham into monsters. So Magpie is a horrific half woman, half bird.
Oh.
And Ivy is like a plant monster. And Scarface becomes a little man, and the ventriloquist becomes like a big scary gangster.
Okay.
So like we see like all these like crazy forms for them, right?
Yeah.
And so he has to fight them.
Cool.
And so he does. We also see that I think what happened was Anne became his hand because he has a ghostly hand.
Oh, cool.
And so he's able to fight more easily.
Oh, is he able to touch the undead in a specific way?
I think he's just also able to punch and grab and hold and save that
Yeah.
way.
And actually flip people off
And
this
we
time.
established earlier that like he was already feeling phantom limb syndrome anyway, so
Yeah,
it's not like he
so-
has to relearn how to use
Exactly. And so like because the zombies like freed the inmates and like the magical beasts, it also freed Etrigan.
Right.
So Etrigan is in the fray as well now. Hooray.
it. Awesome.
Croc is also released. He's scary AF, but this
Yep.
is an opportunity for Aaron to get over this. And so Aaron fights him, takes a chunk of his flesh.
Nice.
Ah, nice. Does he make like a glove out of it?
No, he makes a wallet. Aaron gets to Arkham and he saves him. The zombies are like, okay, cool. And they missed all of the negotiations, so they don't know what was negotiated.
Right.
But all of a sudden, Fish is like, do you agree? Because your time's running out. And they're like, yes. And so they disappear and they go back to hell. Because that's all
Cool.
they wanted to do is they wanted to go back to hell and they wanted to torture.
Oh, great. Well, bye.
And they're like, wait, what was the deal? What'd you make? And he's like, oh, they didn't catch my little loophole. They're going to go back to be torturers, but like only of each other. It'll be like a loop.
Yeah.
And Etrigan's like, he's like, I'm sure they deserved it.
Right.
And Etrigan's like, really? Because like, you don't know what crime they committed.
Right.
And he's like, because if you were to make a mistake in hell, what type of crime would send you here? It would be like mercy and kindness and charity.
Oh.
What? So they were nice?
They were nice, but they didn't want to be.
Right.
But they were.
All
So,
right, well.
so now he screwed them over.
Guys, you understand on my performance review, I'm not doing so well.
Yeah.
They said I was charitable. Me? Charitable?
You've been pretty charitable.
What? Okay, you gave someone mercy the other day.
Okay. So did he.
Hey, whoa! Don't drag me.
It
into
was
this.
like 10 people though. Trust me. He's out there. He's like, you know, you're poking people with your little fork, but you're not poking that hard.
No. I'm pulling my pokes.
Anne is being tormented by ghosts. They ripped the fish skin off of her. She uses the hand of Anne plus the eyeball of Anne plus the tape she has of Anne dying
Oh my god.
to get out of Arkham. only to open the door and have Batman punch her in the face. See, Batman came back.
Hey.
Twice.
Does he punch her as Anne, or does he think she's Fish?
No, he punches her as Anne. And then they wheel the Joker in. Because he's like, oh yeah, I brought the Joker back.
Yeah, that's
for
why
him.
I'm here. I didn't even get a
I've
message.
been hit by a car. You have to help me.
Blood goes back to the car where Bullock is and like wakes him up, and he's like, what are we doing? Do we get the bad guys? Did
Right.
we do it? And he's like, yeah, basically, let's go home.
We had a team up. You were great.
Essentially, how are we going to get out of this one, right? We just saw this crazy crap going on.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Arkham decides what they're going to say is that it was the Scarecrow's, like, fear toxin got out. It was fear toxin. It had to be
Everyone
fear
had a
toxin.
mass hallucination.
It could not have been real.
It's the only
and
way.
so
Ghosts, come on, ghosts aren't real.
Scarecrow was punished
Aw.
severely. He's like, what?
Sorry.
But it wasn't me this time. So literally everyone believes that that's what happens. Aaron has very much gotten over his issue with Croc. He's fine. The other guards are having a real rough time with everything that happens. He says the same thing that Arkham said to him earlier in the book, which is like, do you want to sit there and be a cripple, or do you want to go back to where it's all right to cripple others? Which I don't know how I feel about that line, but
Yeah,
listen.
whoa, what?
He reveals his wallet.
Yay.
And then we see that Fish looks completely different. Mm-hmm. He did not get plastic surgery. He in that cell that day, he cracked. And now he is just the Great White. Dumpty is his like muscle, and Great White gets things for people in prison. And so like we see the bus roll up and Two-Face comes off of it, and we see Mr. Freeze coming off, and we see this dude in a suit, and our newly deformed Warren White sees him and says, "Who's the new Fish?"
Oh.
So there you go.
Yay. Cool.
So this book created Warren White, Jane Doe, Death Rattle, Doodlebug,
Junkyard Dog.
Humpty Dumpty,
Yep.
Aaron Cash.
Wow.
There's a lot to be said here. You can take it from a couple of different perspectives, and I think that's what Slott wants you to do, is to look at it as like, is Arkham the reason why these individuals are the way they are? Is there no real healing going on?
Right.
Or is it the fact that it's like, there is no real healing for these individuals? Because it's like, I know, I'm not saying that mental health isn't a real thing that can be helped and cured, and like, you know, you can find ways to make your mental health better in reality.
Yeah.
In the reality of mental health, absolutely. But these are villains.
Right.
And at times we do have tragic villains, like Dumpty, for example.
Yeah.
I think Dumpty
Yeah.
is a pretty good tragic villain
Yeah.
and entry into like Batman's sad rogues gallery.
Totally.
But still a rogue.
Yeah, but some of these folks, you could have them be fixed.
Yeah.
But they always tend to go back to it.
Yeah,
because-
Harvey Dent, they keep doing that.
But like for a lot of them, it's like you have to wonder, is there not some sort of supernatural evil going on here? Because you can't fix that, right?
Yeah.
Because Arkham itself is a Gothic building. It's meant to have like ties to the supernatural, to like mysticism.
And it does.
And it does in this in particular.
It went places I was not expecting.
That's very true.
Yeah,
No.
but it all comes back around at the end.
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention. You got to keep all your threads straight. But trust me, by the end, it all kind of wraps up. Except for the skin suit came from. That's the only thing.
Right.
Skin suits. Where do they come from?
I don't want to hear that term anymore.
Skin suit?
Yes, that's the one.
Skin suit.
Skin suit.
Skin suit. You didn't bring the candy?
No.
Oh. But I brought the skin suit.
No!
Skin suit.
Bye. All right.
All right. I guess we can pose for a picture.
Yeah. I guess we're done.